Hello, Aries, and welcome to your tarot reading for the month of December, in which we will overview your main energy throughout this month, any problems you might be dealing with, and we'll be looking into solutions and approaches you could use to address these problems. So it's lovely to have you here, and since this is a general tarot reading, feel free to leave the bits that don't resonate behind and hold the bits that feel important to you close to your heart. So, Aries, for some reason I feel like you're gonna surprise me today. Was just excited to do your reading. And as I'm talking, a card just fell on the floor. And the first card that I take for my readings is the card representing the main energy of the month of December. It is, in a sense, a snapshot of your current circumstances. And we got Four of Cups. So I'll start with the fact that 4 is a number of foundation and of structure, and 4s can represent security as well as stagnation. Cups in tarot represent the water element, which is tied to relationships and emotional connections with the world around you and with yourself as well. Four of Cups is a card of retreating from the world, taking a step back to contemplate by yourself about what you've been through, what your needs are, what lessons from any heartbreaks or any hardships, what lessons you've learned, and how these lessons put themselves together into this emotional structure that you want to operate from. So, in a sense, Four of Cups is a card of reflection, of isolation, and it can signal that this month of December you're feeling a bit drained and tired from the world around you, from the external stimuli, perhaps from the relationships around you, and you want to take a moment to retreat and figure out how it all works together, what the foundation is. To me, the Four of Cups energy, I was just thinking about it today actually. It reminds me of that energy when you're out and around people and you could engage with them, you could have a conversation with them, but at the same time you feel self-sufficient in the sense that you're almost too tired or you can't be bothered to open your mouth and you're just happy participating in the conversation in your head but not actually talking to people out loud. You might eavesdrop on people's conversations and reflect to yourself whether you agree or whether you disagree, but you don't actually feel like you need to actively actually express yourself and participate in the conversation. So that's the sort of feeling I get from the Four of Cups energy. So this month you might be perhaps reevaluating which friendships and which emotional connections, which relationships in your life which make you feel engaged and like it's natural to express yourself and be yourself, and then which ones make you feel like you don't really need to contribute and make you feel like you want to retreat instead. So I guess in that sense, the month of December is good for reflecting on which relationships you feel like deserve your energy, and which relationships feel like they have some growth to offer, and which relationships you feel like it's uh, easy and useful and helpful for you to express yourself and actually engage, and in which you can do without that. And in that sense, I'm also um, drawn to the fact that in this card we see a figure drinking their cup, and the universe, the hand of God, if you will, the big mysterious hand times three, is handing this person three cups. But the person seems not to mind or not to notice, and is busy indulging in their cup. So in that sense, again, to me that feels like reevaluation of what others are offering you, and what you want to take out of and learn from the relationships with others, because in a sense, other people might actually have lots to offer you, but you might be disinterested because of the emotions that you have to deal by yourself. Um, at the same time, since this is a card that can also signal stagnation rather than security within your emotions, um, make sure that you don't completely close yourself off, and once in a while you can give it a try and open up and maybe say a word, or maybe engage in a group dynamic that you would usually not contribute in a way, and see what happens. Perhaps you'll find the emotional connection with the rest of the cups, and you'll just get to taste more of life's experiences. But overall, having Four of Cups, just looking for my cards, having Four of Cards as your main energy, this is a good month to realize which friendships and which relationships make you feel nourished, and quench your emotional thirst, and what sort of things you want to engage in, and what sort of things you can do without. So, next card that I will draw will show us what tension point and what perhaps stressor could come out of this emotional reflection, of this contemplation, of this retreat and reevaluation of how you engage with your community, how you engage with your friends, how you engage with your family, and what satisfies you and what makes you feel stuck. Okay, as your problem card, we have Seven of Swords in reverse. So, Seven of Swords is a card that symbolizes, um, well, the person in the card looks sneaky, like they are about to steal these campers' swords. But even though on the surface the Seven of Swords is often interpreted as illusion, trickstery, cheating, lies, all of that deceptive bullshit, right? I way more enjoy Seven of Swords feeling like discernment, and discernment in the sense of being selective with what mindsets are useful for you and which mindsets are not helpful for you. So in that sense, swords representing the mental activity, swords representing the thoughts, the patterns, the um, attitudes and perceptions that we have, and perhaps language that we use. Here, the Seven of Swords feels like someone trying to find the sharpest, the fairest, the most balanced swords to take with them on their next journey. And, I mean, what this makes me think of, like, even if they're stealing, like, who allowed others to have all the swords in the first place? Can't we all share swords? So this dude is just being wise. This card being reversed, though, I feel like in this time of emotional contemplation and emotional reflection, we might get stuck in a mindset that is not actually helpful for us. And we might be struggling with discerning and judging which um, which version of the truth we want to go with, maybe, or which attitude we want to adopt towards a friendship. And uh, it feels like we might have been hurt, and maybe that's why we've retreated a bit, and we're struggling to see how we can move on with the situation. And perhaps we're in the process of still processing whichever emotions. That's why we're indulging in and self-sufficient with whatever we're feeling, because we're trying to work it all out. And as we are working all of these emotions out, we might be feeling confused over how to move on mentally from this. If we are processing something that hurt us, that felt like deception, and you know, um, what's the word that's coming to my head? Betrayal, even, yeah. So if we're dealing with that, um, until we have fully processed this experience, this stress, or this pain from friendship, until we have processed it emotionally, perhaps the efforts to move on from it mentally might feel like self-deception. I feel like here the Seven of Swords reversed is talking about self-deception. So, with this self-deception energy coming through, I feel like I want to reiterate that even though it's useful to retreat for you this month, perhaps hibernate a bit, collect some of your emotional energy back, and realize which friendships and which relationships and overall which emotional dynamics are good for you and which you want to focus on. Be sure to not overindulge on it, because um, you might deceive yourself in thinking there's only one cup, there's only one option, there's only one person for you, only one friend that's got your back. So I feel like through completely dismissing these three cups that the universe is offering you, you are self-deceiving. Because, yeah, sure, maybe these all are not your cup of tea, but if you completely ignore them, if you never open up, even in tiniest ways, even if it's just a genuine question, how are you, to your coworker, then you might get stuck in self-deception that you are in fact alone. And that, as I said, that might feel safe and secure and comfortable, and that is helpful and useful, but perhaps to a point. Perhaps you want to vary it and If you don't want to pay attention to the free cups that other people, other situations, other relationships are offering, then at least put down this cup that you are engaging in and just look around you and, I don't know, climb a tree. Climb a tree, walk around the tree, just distract yourself for a bit, and then come back to the cup that you are emotionally processing, then come back to these emotions and this thing that you're trying to understand. Sort of give yourself a break, either by distracting yourself with what other people might unexpectedly offer you, or distract yourself from your own self-deception in other ways by just putting yourself in new environments, or doing the things that you're used to doing in a bit of a plot twist way. Just add a twist on things if you are able to get yourself a bit unstuck if you're feeling stuck. So, the last card that I will draw for you, Aries, will give us a distilled down, narrowed down advice from Tarot on what practical solution, on what approach we could adopt to make sure that we both give ourselves security and comfort and retreat this month, while not getting stuck in emotional indulgence. Okay, so what can we offer Aries this month? What could Aries focus on? Aries, what would you like to do this month? What would you like to do differently, perhaps? What's something new that you could try to open up? Okay. So, for our advice, we got Temperance, which is a major arcana card. And Temperance, imagine it, it's originally usually depicted as a guardian angel looking like figure, so imagine it as your guardian angel. If you believe in those popping up and being like, hello, focus on me this month. But practically, what Temperance is suggesting is to bring harmony, patience, and moderation into your life. So perhaps if you're feeling dissatisfied with the emotional connections around you, and that's why you are ignoring them and not giving them a chance to develop and keep growing and shift gears, then I feel like Temperance would ask you to be patient. Be patient with where your friendships are taking you, where your intuition is taking you, how your relationships with people are developing. Also, the balance and moderation bit of the Temperance makes me think of, again, the dynamic of allowing yourself to retreat, but also harmonizing and balancing it out by an action that's external and that takes you out, and that takes you out of this loop of self-deception and perhaps self-mistreatment. If your mind is attacking you, if your mind is being rude, the Temperance is asking you to bring a little love for yourself and harmonize your life by harmonize your life by observing the self-deceptions, or just like observing the thoughts that you have, the pain that you have, the truth that hurts. And then as you observe this truth that's painful, as you observe the mean words that you might say to yourself, and as you isolate yourself, try to balance it by turning it upside down. And if you're telling yourself, I'm no good at this, I'm awful at this, try to balance it out by just like for a second thinking that maybe it's the opposite way. Maybe I'm okay. What if I'm good? Maybe I'm just good. Maybe I'm not horrible. Maybe I didn't act awkward. Maybe the other person was awkward. Or maybe I didn't act awkward because the other person didn't even notice that I was awkward. Because the other person was too concerned about themselves being awkward. So it's that sort of flip-flop that the temperance would ask you to lovingly bring more into your life. Because just imagine if you were someone's guardian angel and they were beating themselves up in their mind, if they were isolating themselves from friendships that could really be healing, or just friendships that could really just keep them going. If you were a guardian angel to someone like that, to someone who has the world ready to offer them things, and someone who is capable of leaving the unhelpful mindsets, the hurtful truths behind, and move on with better suited approaches for more helpful mindsets and strategies. What would you say to someone like that if you were their guardian angel? You'd probably be encouraging. You'd probably understand that this process takes time and is difficult, and even if you have a step back, even if you retreat back into your comfort zone of stagnation, you would understand that every time this little human tries, it's the effort that counts, and it's the effort that overall ends up breaking the patterns and the pain apart. So if you're feeling stuck this month, and if you are struggling to understand how to move on from situations, or what perspective would serve you most, what angle and what attitude would serve you best to process and keep moving on with your friendships, then just allow yourself some quiet time, allow yourself some harmony and balancing out in your everyday life, and imagine that you are your own guardian angel, just comforting yourself after a difficult day of emotional and mental processing, and allow yourself some rest and some love within that. So, Aries, I feel like the temperance is here to let you know that you're being taken care of, and if you keep putting at least a little bit of effort in harmonizing and balancing the situation for yourself and for your friends, then the universe will pay back this effort by harmonizing and balancing the things out that are in its scope. as long as you show effort this month to keep pushing boundaries, keep opening up, keep proving yourself wrong, then I feel like the balance and harmony will be restored, as long as you're just a little patient with it. So, thanks, Aries, for having me, and I hope you have a lovely December of reflection, of rest, and also of new and unexpected angles on a situation. So I'll see you again for the next readings, and goodbye.